Hello, my friend. I'm back with another idea to use up some of these window envelopes that I know I've been collecting. I stopped collecting and now I'm collecting them again because I keep having these ideas. I think, oh, that's a good envelope. I guess what I'm trying to say is I need to use them up instead of just collecting them. Anyway, this idea, I'm calling it a triple pocket tie-on waterfall flip. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. Let me show you my prototype that I did. I made it with index cards just to get the idea of how I was going to do it. I hope you can see this on here. It's 3 index cards, and I put lace at the bottom of them. I cut them so that they are layered at the bottom. There's 3 different levels here. And then I punched holes at the top and I put this reinforcement on around the hole. It's some of that, I think they call it vinyl paper that has the sticky on the back of it, and they use it to cut with cricket cutters. I got mine at Dollar Tree when they were closing it out for 25 cents a roll, and I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. But anyway, I figured out a way to cut with it on my Big Shot machine. I was having trouble with it. I figured out that if I put a piece of wax paper over it before I put the dye on, that solves that problem of it sticking to the dye. Anyway, I punched holes, and then I used one of these cards for a template to punch the hole in the page so that the ribbon runs through the page and comes through the pieces and ties on. I tied a little bow here. That was in my yellow journal. But let me just real quick show you what my idea of this is. And basically what you're doing is you're trimming these envelopes to be layered. I marked these 2, and then I have one more that I need to put behind it. I think this one's tall enough to do that. It's already cut to the right length. So I'll use it and cut these 2 to this length. Get my little ruler and a knife. Little metal ruler and a knife. Scoot it down just a bit. Just need to make it straight because, well, I guess you could have it going cattywampus if you wanted to. Might be cute cattywampus. I decided later on that I liked it staggered sideways better. So I'll show you that one in a little bit, but I'm going to show you just the basics here. Okay. I did mine where they're all, the bottom is layered. I did three envelopes. You could do more or less depending on, what you want to do. And so they're like that. I'm just going to do this one as just a real basic prototype without decorating it to show you what I did. Window envelopes that have a big window are nice for this. If you have something like a picture, a photograph, or something you want to put in there, like this Fancy Dan. I think he would fit in this one. I'm not sure. Just barely. His head's kind of up there on the top, but you get the idea. It shows more of the picture with something like that rather than one like this that you just have. This might work fine too, though, because he fits in that window. So I like that fine right there myself. So that's an idea. What I did is after I cut them, I decided that I wanted about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch here. Actually, that's about 5/8 of an inch difference. And you can either have them further down, or you can have them, you can adjust this however you want it. I put lace on mine. And if left to my own devices, it's lace and pink and flowers and things. So I'll show you the one that I did with all of those things when we finish this. Okay, anyway, so you get it cut. This one is, the back envelope is about 7 inches tall on the back one. Like I said, you can cut them taller or shorter. The middle one is 6 1/4. And the top one, is 5 1/2. So that makes a pretty good range of waterfall there. Then, to make this go a little faster, just to give you the idea, You can either measure this or just eyeball it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to just come in from the edges and make that where it's about there, and just maybe do an inch and whatever that little bit amounts to there. Just so it's, you know, it looks right. I think that may be over a little bit further. So hopefully you can punch these all at one time. What you want to do is have your envelopes lined up. These are not the same width, so you can either adjust them a little bit left and right to be even, or you can slide them over so that they are staggered across here. You want to be able to punch through all three envelopes. You want to have the hole through all three envelopes. In other words, don't punch it out here where that one's hanging loose. You can do it however you want to do it. You can make this shorter one in the middle, or you can put this one in the middle and have that one sticking out, or have them both going sideways a little bit more. It's really up to you however you want to set it up like that. I'm going to do this one with them in order, and I'm going to make it straight, just a normal waterfall without the side-to-side business. Although, since these are not the same width, it might be good to have them a little bit staggered. Oh, well, we'll just do it. What I did before was I came all the way down and punched. I don't want to do that, so I need a line across the envelopes. I'm going to put it at about 1/2 inch down on this top one. I may need to clip them together so they hold when I'm cutting them or punching them. So I'm just going to put, I'm going to look in the side so I can see where the punch is going, and I want the top, the nearest part of it on next to that line, if that makes sense. And just generally there. See, I got it pretty much on the line there. Okay, let's come around here and do that again. Where's my hole? There's my... Okay, so now I have it punched with holes to run a ribbon or string through. You could put eyelets in this. You could put grommets if you have big ones. Or you can just leave it like this. Maybe use a hole reinforcer around them. I'm going to erase my line on this one since I don't want that on the front. For decorations, you know, you can do anything you normally do for decorating your projects. I'll show you what I did on the one I did that's pink in a second here. Okay, so that is pretty much erased. Now, if you want to tie it to your page, I'm not going to tie this to a page right now. I think I'll get a piece of paper and tie it to that. This is just a piece of paper that I dyed 8.5 by 11. And I think I used food coloring on this. I don't remember. It's been a while since I did it. But I'm going to fold this as if it were a page in a journal. A little cattywampus after being wet, but we'll see here. Like that. And then I'm going to assume that I want it on this side. So what I would do is I would line these up where they match and clip it on to the page, kind of where I want it. And as long as it fits far enough down, I have to go a little higher than that to make it fit right. And then I'm going to put a paper clip on it so it doesn't shift. Hopefully it doesn't shift. Okay. I think it looks pretty good. And I'm just going to punch this top sheet. Oh, that's not far enough up. I have to go a little higher. You can also punch this all at the same time. If you put your envelopes there and punch the holes all at one time, you can do that. Just depends on how well your paper punch goes through numerous layers. Okay, so that we have that on there. I have this gold ribbon that I'm going to use. And you just tie it all together on there. Go through this side. There we go. All right, and then come up on the other side. And tie it. And I just tied a bow. You could just tie a knot, leave the streamers long, or just, you know, any way you want to do it. There. Like that. So that it's, let's cut that off. So then it's, you know, you can flip it up. Another thing you could do is you could take it to your scoreboard and just score right under this so that it flips up a little easier on these. If you wanted to, you don't have to do that. The back could be for writing space. You put whatever pictures or whatever you want in the pockets. And it's like that. You can also tie it individually. Let me just, I'll take this out and redo it. I use this string. I think it's just some cotton string I have. You can cut off a piece, a couple of pieces. Maybe about that long. You might want to measure, or you might want to figure it out before you start cutting how much you want to cut off. But anyway, this way you would just tie each hole separately. You could use ribbon or lace or whatever you prefer to tie these with. You could, you know, just whatever works. I personally like it better tied in the middle with the bow, but I think this could be cute for some journals. It might be more appropriate than the bow in the middle. Okay. Just gives you another option. We like options. I'm all thumbs today. I can't tie this bow. Okay. Get through there. There, finally. So that way it's hanging on there with from those two. My bows are crooked, but you know. You probably do a better job tying it than I did there. So, I mean, that's basically the idea. Then I put lace at the bottom on the cards. I have this lace on it. It's some older lace. It's kind of yellow. This is this lace that has this netting at the top that has it gathered up. And I use some of that on the other one I want to show you. I embossed this top card and then used my ink to just highlight the embossing on that. I used dies to cut out a piece of vellum for the bottom layer and then a different die for this scalloped piece and a different die for the small one there. And then the back is just, has the lines on it. I was just doing this. I just used paper to make the reinforcements up here, which you really can't even see, but the writing space, extra writing space, and on the back. So that is that one. That one, unless you put pockets, glue pockets to it, you wouldn't have the option of having a place to tuck things in. Let me show you the other one that I made, and I just clipped it in this journal. It's right here, and I'm going to pull it out. On this one, I used the window envelopes. I used I guess you might say complimentary. All of the security paper or paper design on the back is in black, and they're different designs. This is kind of a little check, and this one is that crisscross that I like. And then this one is those tiny little lines everywhere. And this is the one I said that left to my own devices. It's pink and lace and little blings and stamps. I use this stamp. Can't really tell too much about it, but it has a lace pattern on it. And I use that here at the top on that one. And then I didn't use it on that one, but I used it in pink on this back one. See if you can see that a little bit in there. And then I just added some washi tape and some ink and some washi tape under the thumb holes and a little bit of baby rickrack there. And this one has a little bit of dry napkin decoupage on that, and some sparkly things that are in my mother's stash. And that's the lace at the bottom. I put an index card on the back of this one. It makes it really stiff. So I don't know how really effective that is to have such a stiff thing back there. And it's also coming off. But I did use the stamp on it for that design. And I didn't punch the holes in the paper on this one. I just have it tucked in here. I don't know if it's going to stay in here or not. That is that one. Let me show you just a couple of ideas of things that I thought about. This is another one. Since this security design is so dark and black, I thought it might be fun to have black things inside the windows. This was on the cover of a church bulletin from years ago, and I really liked the design, and I kept it, and I cut it out. It's not made into a journal card yet. I need to glue something on the back of it, but I do have it cut down to a size that I like the way it looks. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." And I thought for this one, if I put this card in this pocket, I'm going to cut it down, I think. And then this is just a note card. We have writing space in it. And that has that crisscross pattern, but this doesn't have that pattern on it. So I either need to patch it up a little bit or put something else behind there. That's another option. If you don't like the design on your security paper, or there's nothing there and you want something different, you can always do that. Just slide a piece of, I have these little sheets of scrapbook paper that a friend gave me. This is the size they came in, which is really good for putting in these envelopes to, have a background in there. I had picked some out. And I would put this one on top, I suppose. And I have some black and white checked ribbon. I would decorate with that a little bit, I think. Just to have a little interest on it. And whatever other, design elements you want to put on it. I have some silver colored bling that would be pretty with the black and white. Or black beads. Or you could punch a hole and put a charm hanging off the edge. There's just lots of options with it. Let me tell you about this. These are some prayer cards I got at Dollar Tree. They were up by the checkout stand. I had not seen them before. And I think they're very bright. Each one of them says today's prayer on the one side. The other side is a scripture written on them. And they're all pretty bright colors, which is green and pink. They had another set that was a different design, and I wish I'd picked it up too when I was there. I'm going to look for them next time I go and see about getting those. But they would not fit in this. I don't think they'd fit in the envelope. I don't think this would fit where it would show in the window. So you might want to do some trimming down to make it fit in there, and it's still going to be sideways. So that's maybe something to consider. This might not be the one that you would want to use for this kind of envelope or this kind of project. But anyway, I wanted to mention them because I think they're very nice cards. And they're, nice quality. You could also use, these are some Tim Holtz photographs from some of his packages with vertical designs that you could use in there. I think one that's more black and white would be good. I like the couple, wedding couple. Although he looks a little bit nervous about this idea. Just a little note card, writing page would fit in. This is a flash card from Dollar Tree also. You might not like the shininess of it, but you could sand it down a little bit and use that. That's in the children's educational section. They have, this is multiplication. They have subtraction, addition, and division, I think. Another idea that I had, I hope I'm not bombarding you too much with different ideas, but this would be to use just regular envelopes. These are some that I got that came in these various colors in one package. There's also green and yellow. But I thought this would be pretty to make an Easter flip, with whichever color you want on top. And you could stagger it at the bottom how you want it to be. And then cut down the top. Or you could add something additional at the top to make them make the shorter ones longer. Put a flap on the top or an extension. So that's another idea. Another thing you may want to consider is which side you want to open up to have your pocket open. And that might depend on where you put it in your book. Like if this is the spine, you might want the openings over here. Or if you feel like it might slide out, you'd rather have it secure, you might want to have it on this side. That's just an option. It's probably a little harder once you have it in a book that is pretty full, like most of mine end up being. And to put it on this side, it would be easier to get anything in and out of the pocket. This is the one I finished, and I haven't put anything in the pockets. I'm not even sure I'm going to put anything in those pockets at this point. I'll just put it in the book and, have it available to put something in. And I will finish up these others at some point. I'm not sure I'm going to do it for this video because I'm running late this week. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and got some inspiration for how you could use this in your journals. And there's just so many ways you can decorate it and adapt it for your journals. And lots of options with stamps and stickers and inks and scrapbooking paper. Just, putting scrapbooking paper on, covering the sides or the bottom or whatever. Putting lace or ribbons down here. Washi tape. I put washi tape on the bottom of this one. And I inked the edges here. This is the napkin that I glued down. A little bit of baby rickrack and just some lace, I think, was some that my mother had. So anyway, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.